Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today is September 24th, 2020, and this is the Flight Sim News. So, Chuck Owl, who is the guy responsible for the awesome Chuck's Guides, has made a pretty decent update to the Hornet guide that he has. He goes, last January, Eagle Dynamics dubbed 2020 the year of the Hornet. With a brand new air-to-air ground radar, slam cruise missile, and updated Lightning II targeting pod, many sections of my Hornet guide became obsolete. Therefore, I eventually had to begin the very long and complex process of going back through everything and planning what had to be changed and what had to be added. A few hundred gallons of coffee later, there we are. We all know other updates will eventually come, but let's not think about it too hard for now. And here is the updated changelog. So there's so many things here, I'm not going to read the whole list for you, but it does reflect a lot of the recent changes to the Hornet. And then in the end he says, overall, a lot of new stuff crammed in there. The page count went from 350 to 530 pages. Once again, if you guys still have any suggestions, recommendations, or corrections, please let me know. I will throw a link to this in the video description as usual, and you should definitely check it out for yourself. Even if you're a new or an old Hornet driver in DCS, I think you'll find these guides very, very helpful. Alright, earlier in the week, Jason Williams was a little cryptic about something that was coming to the Great Battles series. And what they've done is it looks like they've added some AAA guns that you can man in the Great Battles series. So it looks like you have an SDKFZ 10/5 Flak 38 20mm vehicle mounted anti-aircraft gun up for pre-order for $20. And then there is the GAZ-MM72-K, a 25mm vehicle mounted anti-aircraft gun for $20 as well as a pre-order price. So I guess it's going to be $24.99, but right now they're up for $19.99. As to when these are going to be available, I'm not quite sure. This just popped up, I think, yesterday. So I wanted to throw that up there, and if you guys are into the Great Battle series and you want to start shooting people down on the ground, here's your opportunity. I'll throw a link to this in the video description as usual, and you can check it out for yourself. Alright, next up, Heatblur is over there teasing us. It says ALR-45 RWR. Anyone? Things are about to get harder. The A, Cometh. So this is an image of the older RWR that the A model of the F-14 Tomcat has, and that is modeled, I'm guessing, in the A model. So they were saying, I think, that the A is coming in the, was it like the first patch in October? They didn't say 100% for certain, but I think they said that's what they wanted to aim for. So here's to hoping that this week goes by quickly, and we see another open beta update that brings us the A model finally. Can't wait to fly it and give it a shot. It's going to be a little more difficult than the B, I'm guessing, based on what I'm seeing here. But I'm really looking forward to it, and especially the campaigns that are being built by, I believe, Heatblur themselves, and then what Greg over at Reflected Simulations has going on. Very, very cool stuff. I'll throw a link to this in the video description, and you can check it out for yourself. Alright, up next is Wags talking about the next Hornet update. Mark points and AGR radar mode. So this is talking about the mark points, how that's going to work, and then air-to-ground ranging radar mode for the Hornet, and then grid coordinates, and then the AGM-84K Slammer. Not a lot in there except for just what the plan is. So there's no, expected date for this. My guess would be this is probably going to be sneaked into the next open beta update, probably somewhere in early October, because what I've noticed is he'll throw these little updates up about a week or 2 weeks ahead of time of the next update that the things are going to be in. So I'll throw a link to this in the video description as usual, and you can check it out for yourself. Alright, yesterday on the 23rd was the big open beta update we've been waiting for. Well, I wouldn't go that far. We're always waiting for the open beta updates, right? And it goes to say, today we released the open beta with several high priority issues for the Hornet AIM-9 family which were discovered yesterday. However, I decided to release this open beta because it delivers significant changes made by our partners to aircraft that are very important to you, and we prepared new features for Hornet and Viper. The issues will be fixed and updated during the coming week. And that is from Kate Paradirko, Chief Operating Officer. So in DCS world, the AIM-120, probability of countermeasure spoofing was returned to the old value. The replay system, user tracks in some condition replay with very low FPS, fixed. How about they just fix the replay system in general? Like, sometimes you play back a replay and then as you're playing the replay, your aircraft crashes. I don't know if that's ever been fixed. That would be nice if it is, because that's why I don't even use the replay for making videos, because with the F-14 at least, anytime I ever tried using it, it ended up, in the ground on the second or third replay. So, has that been fixed? Does anybody know? Let me know. Infantry not engaging each other has been fixed. Aircraft using high drag Mark 82 Snake Eyes below 1,000 feet has been fixed. Crash to desktop on wingman actions fixed. That sounds like a game breaker. Ground AI vehicles no longer move on their own to use weapons, fixed. Piston engine fire effect is fixed. Enabled all aircraft types to rearm from friendly FARP objects. Decreased range opens fire soldier with M1 Garand from 1,200 to 500 meters. F-14 AI will operate on ground parkings with folded wings. That one is about fucking time. I don't know how many F-14 missions I would try to start, and the guy next to me is either too damn close or his wings are out, and as soon as I try to move, poof, you go boom. So that is a welcome addition and fix for sure. WebRTC updated the GUI. AI, JU88 and A20 ignore reaction to threat settings, fixed. So they're just kind of moseying along and like nothing's going on, I guess, right? Mission editor, metric and imperial sometimes displayed incorrectly, has been fixed. Third Reich pilot model, they removed the swastika from the Iron Cross. I'm so tired of political correctness, Not to get into an entirely other discussion, but I'm one of these people that thinks you should leave history be history. I'm not for anything that the Germans did in World War II. I mean, it was terrible, apocalyptic in terms of just, scope of the shit that they pulled and got away from. But at the same time, I think we have to remember. And, just thinking you can wipe out things, or like these assholes taking down statues, you know what I mean? Like, if you think you can wipe out history, I think that's just stupid. You need to have history there to remind you of what not to do, so it's a lesson learned instead of just acting like things didn't happen. Increased G tolerance of pilot, affects the speed, smoke, and fire was improved. Sound added more robust workaround for broken drivers. Mouse input added ability to assign commands to extra mouse buttons. That could be helpful. Modern SAMs have to engage aircraft weapons like ARM, tactical, and cruise missiles. Restored that ability. Starting waypoint for ships has speed of 0 kilometers by default. And then Western RWR. Added a symbol for the new Kuznetsov, I can never pronounce that, and changed indications of SAM search radars. And then it looks like the MiG-21 has a reasonable amount of little updates. They've adjusted the Syria instant action missions. I'm just going to go through at this point the ones that I think are important or that I find useful for me. Added a road-based mission for the Syria map for the Viggen. Added more quick start missions for the Viggen. That's awesome. Reduced opacity of the HUD and canopy glass. Increased night illumination of the ADI. Tweaked wheel brake effectiveness. And then the F-14. Added the ability to hide HUD camera. That's pretty cool. Says that pilots used to carry heck wrenches to remove the HUD, especially for landing. So let's see, fixed stab in, else out, and stab out in keybinds. Fixed Syria instant action missions. I do remember one of those was really broken. Synced the AIM-7 data to the latest AIM-7 changes by Eagle Dynamics. What else is there? Taught Jester to turn on the AWG-9 AIM-54 cooling as appropriate during the post-start procedure. That sounds useful. Fixed the computer target designator, sometimes jumping slightly on the HUD when designating a ground point. Added textures to the intake covers for the static F-14. Fixed shading near air brake. Fixed lack of night illumination on Rio TID rollers. Partial fix to lack of night illumination on weapon selection roller. Fixed lack of night illumination on the AWG-9 radar gauge. And then the rest don't really, do much for me. Looks like a ton of fixes and improvements have been added to the AV-8B, and they had talked about this a little bit recently. After everybody pretty much brought out the pitchforks and torches on Razbam again for taking the AV-8B out of early access, they have delivered as promised that they were going to just put all these fixes and improvements in there to show them that work is still being done on this even though it's outside of early access. I'm not even going to begin to read this one because it's too long, but I will talk more about Razbam here in a minute. And in addition to that, the other Razbam modules looks to have gotten some love. There's a variety of fixes for the Mirage 2000C, added vertical tail damage parts and fragments, added support for more RWR codes. What else is there here? Added RWR code documentation in the at doc-m. So probably there's a PDF in there that talks about threat codes, I'm guessing. Fix the damage model where parts would not fragment off. Fix the damage model where weapons would sometimes remain on destroyed wings. These all sound like very legit things that they're fixing. MiG-19 got a couple of things. And if I would say anything negative about Razbam, it would probably be the fact that the MiG-19 has gotten the least amount of attention out of all the Razbam modules. I almost feel like that is the redheaded stepchild of Razbam, that they just don't care much about that one, because that is the one, I have to admit, I haven't seen really shit for that until today, for the longest time. So, looks like the DCS JF-17, what do they call it? The Jeffy. From Deca Ironworks Simulations has gotten a little bit of love, and their China Asset Pack got a little bit of love. The C-101 Aviojet looks like to have gotten a little bit of love. Now, this is the one I was looking forward to. So the P-47D Thunderbolt, they've added 2 additional modifications, the P-47D-30 early and the P-47D-40. They've also added new bombs and rockets for using on the aircraft, added external fuel tanks and the M10 smoke tank. They've updated the bombs delivery procedure, curious to what that is, updated the damage visualization. So does that mean the damage visually has been updated? So when you take damage or receive damage, I'll have to look into that. Flight model, English and Russian has been updated. Logbook not recording P-47 stats has been fixed. And there's a known issue where the AI-controlled aircraft have problems when aiming the rockets. I'm pretty much most excited about this update in this open beta more than anything, and I want to get in there and check those out. And then there's a variety of just single fixes here for a Mustang, for a Huey, for the Black Shark, for the MiG-15, for the A-10C. And then we jump into the larger updates. So the DCS F-16, they've added the AGM-65D, G, H, and K. What's this? Work in progress. Add to next open beta. I don't know why they're listing this if this goes in the next update, if that's what they mean. They've added the HAS mode for the AGM-88. They've optimized the F-16 livery files. SYM rocker no longer working fixed. Some liveries lack textures fixed. Scan broke for bore sight and vertical scan fixed. Radar loss of track from SAM and TWS fixed. Helmet mounted device change. Added option in the mission editor aircraft property tab. Added ground crew comm. I don't know what that means, unless they've added something that you could see while you're in the helmet mounted device. Not sure what that's all about. Pilot G-load parameters have been made more precise. I thought they changed the G-load, I think, on all of the aircraft. I could be mistaken. Lightning Phase 2. Current coordinate display is not looks like in design doc and original source fixed. That, you know what? Sometimes I'm reading this stuff and I think you guys are like, can that guy read? But I think it's how these guys are writing things. You know, maybe the translation from Russian to English doesn't always come over properly in these updates. F-16 CMTGP will not power on after takeoff has been fixed. They've updated the F-16 guide. And then the HMD bore sight ellipse displayed all the time has been fixed. And then a pretty big update as well for the Hornet. Added the AGR mode, added FTT mode, added mark point option. Incorrect HOTAS command for castle switch aft has been fixed. So many things to talk about here. A lot of stuff with AIM-9s. Yeah, there's a lot. I'm not going to read this whole list. And then, oh, they finally did something with the super carrier. I feel like that's the redheaded stepchild of Ed at the moment, too, because a lot of viewers keep asking me, what's going on with the super carrier? It's like they've released this thing, and they really haven't done anything with it. They've been doing a lot of stuff to the Hornet and the Viper, and I don't know, maybe they're just, you know, stretched a little bit thin right now with what they're doing. Because on one hand, I've seen more Viper and Hornet updates than I've ever seen before in the past 6 months. So they're really pushing to get this done like they said. And I think they said, you know, even earlier on in the Chuck's Guide thing that 2020 was the year of the Hornet. And they did promise to get this done by December to get it out of early access. And it looks like it's aiming for that still based on the number of updates. But at the same time, they came out with the super carrier and they really haven't done much with it. So now they've added CVN 75 and then Arleigh Burke added liveries. That's it. DCS combined arms, I don't even read about these anymore because that just, to me, I checked it out during the previews and the free play time and it was just lame. I see no reason to even have that in DCS because it's never going to be, you know, what it should be. And then campaigns, Raven 1 campaign by Baltic Dragon looks to have received the most updates. Added mission complete mission to each of the missions. What? They didn't even have that? Shame on you, Baltic. Finally add that now. That's the kind of thing that drives me nuts when it comes to campaigns and missions. I do need a, hey, mission complete to know that I've done it, you know. Sometimes it's hard to tell, especially in the thick of things. Updated skins, added briefings in PDF format, updated the Raven 1 guide, and then there's a variety of mission updates that they've added here. And then the last one is just by Maple Flag, the AF-10 BFT campaign. They've updated some of the missions. Updated AI vehicle paths to avoid collisions. And whenever they do that, I think it's because Ed changes something. You know what I mean? This same thing happened actually in the Reflected Simulations Hunters over Yalu campaign that I have, where I was starting my mission and I was waiting for the guys that were behind me on the ground and they just started running into each other and blowing up. And I guarantee you this sounds a lot like the same bug that they had, and this guy, Maple Flag, just finally got around to fixing it. So it's good to see that these mission and campaign creators are updating their stuff as Ed updates things. But that is one of the downfalls of the DCS core engine, is that, you know, sometimes when Eagle Dynamics fixes or improves something, they do tend to break some things for the third-party guys in the process, and then everybody has to turn around and fix their stuff because Ed changed the way something works. Kind of a bummer. But that is it for the open beta, and it is a pretty big open beta update. I'll throw a link to this changelog in the video description as usual, and you can check it out for yourself. Next up, speaking of the Raven 1 campaign, it looks like the Raven 1 campaign is finally available on Steam. For all of you guys that do DCS through Steam, now you can get your hands on the Raven 1 campaign over there. I'll throw a link to that in the video description as usual, and you can check it out for yourself. Alright, in Razbam news, it looks like Razbam has a new community manager, and his name is Elmo. This is really too long to read over the whole thing, but they have outlined a new approach with Ron, who is Prowler, who is the owner and runs the team at Razbam. And basically, I'll try to condense this from what I remember reading. Basically, it says, you know, hey, everybody that was really shitty to Razbam in the past, we're going to unblock you on the forums and on the Discords, and we're going to give you a chance to have a voice again, and come on over and participate. But you know what? If you're a dick again, we're probably going to have to ban you again. That's what I've, you know, that is in my words what I've taken away from this. You know, so if you have a suggestion or concern, just be respectful about it. And then now they've also put in early access, release, and finished. And he goes on to say, these descriptors on a module have long since been debated, and I would like to better clarify how Razbam classifies them. So this is how Razbam sees it, not as how Eagle Dynamics sees it. And they go on to talk about it. An open beta or early access is when a module is out of closed beta and is being put through rigors by the user. This is usually after closed beta tests by the team or external beta testers, and is thought to or believed to be ready to fly. I could delve into more detail, which I would gladly do should you request it, but generally this means that the initial flight model, exterior model, interior, and basic systems that do not require extensive coding or testing can be added and released with the module. Usually this comes with some issues that the dev team missed or did not know existed. This is where the community plays a huge part in assisting the dev team by making us aware of these bugs, which are then listed and worked on until we get to the next module phase. This is what I've said all along. Early access or open beta is just that. If you want to pay and play that module while it's in that state, and it's your choice, nobody says you have to buy it, you are essentially helping beta test it. There's no way around it. That is just it. So there's really no reason to complain or how long something is in early beta, early access, or open beta. There's no promises as to when that's going to be done. And that's why things stay in that, depending on how big the project is. I mean, use common sense, guys. Something like a Hornet. Did you really think that was going to be done in, like, you know, just 2 years' time? I think that's asking a lot. Then there's released, release, or out of beta is when the dev team feels most issues have been sorted or close to finalization. At this point, more and more detail systems that needed a more polished base can be added and implemented, although they too need to go through various tests before they can be considered finished. So this released or out of beta state isn't finished. While the modules can theoretically be used in missions or in multiplayer, this is by no means an indication the module is finished. It may be feature complete, meaning most of the features required to hit the milestone have been implemented without game breakage, but not considered a finished product. The systems may be in the module, and while it may contain many complete features, it is by no means truly finished. Razbam will, in the future, better describe a module's status to prevent confusion. And then there is finished status. With Ed always improving and evolving DCS into a better and better flight sim, some things can and will break, requiring a recode or start from scratch completely. Understanding that this will be a constant issue even for modules in EA or open beta means that timelines can do and will get pushed back depending on the severity of the issue. I just talked about this. As Ed fixes things, they break things. It's just part of the process, unfortunately. So to say a module is finished is a broad stroke open to interpretation. It could mean that all features are in, but they may not all work as described in a NATOPS. The restrictions in place by militaries and governments means that issues with IFF or classified systems still in use need to be either left out completely or made in a more simplified form that does not risk man or machine in real life. If further detailed answers regarding definitions are needed, then I'll be glad to work on an extended post dedicated to that entirely. Again, these descriptions are purely descriptor titles for use by Razbam to define module status internally and is in no way a representation of the module's actual status. I, as Razbam's community manager, will do my best to better bridge the gap between you, our amazing community, and the devs hard at work to bring you some of the most exciting modules to fly. As I work with you and do as much for you as I can, I expect to be treated as I treat you. I will do what I can where I can. Understand things take time and DCS is ever evolving, and I only ask for patience until solutions are found. I would also like to let you know that I have open lines of communication between leading Ed team members to help further prevent contradictory statements in the future. It is my hope that this turns a new page in Razbam's books and paves the way for how we interact with you in the future. I sincerely look forward to talking with all of you and being part of the Razbam team. And Zach, aka Elmo. I think that's fantastic. I think this is something that Razbam has really needed. They really haven't had a PR guy, you know what I mean, or a community manager, I guess is what they're called these days, to run interference and answer these questions, because Razbam, I mean, really, they're all over the fucking place. They really are. They just jump all over the place, and I think that's part of the reason why some of the modules don't get done and are still in the state that they're in. On the other hand, it's nice to see that there's so many modules being worked on, and we have the possibility of so many new things, and we do have the ability to have so many things that are out there that we can play right now. So I think this is a huge step in the right direction for Razbam, and thanks, Zach or Elmo, for taking the time to step up and be the community manager for them, because I think they've really needed this. I'll throw a link to this in the video description as usual, and you can check it out for yourself. Alright, lastly is something I just happened upon by Jinx DCS. Looks like they're making an F-35D mod for DCS. But the model looks really nice. So this could be fun. But again, if it was modeled realistically, then, a lot of the aircraft in DCS would have no chance against it. And what fun would that be? But I always like playing with different and new things. And I'm not against modding DCS from time to time. And I know a lot of guys out there are like me in that respect and just like to have fun with what they own. Hey, that's pretty cool. Look at that. Now that's awesome. Nicely done animation-wise, too. I wonder what they're using for that. I bet that's the Harrier. They would have to use the Harrier to pull that off. That is really cool. I'll post a link to this in the video description as usual, and you can check it out for yourself. So that's about it for the Flight Sim news. Tomorrow we'll probably see the weekend update, and I'm anticipating some kind of news about the A-10 again. I was wrong last week. They really didn't do much or talk much about that, but it's definitely right around the corner, and I'm really looking forward to giving that a shot. Thanks for all the birthday wishes. I'm still kind of, in awe of the helicopter flight that I got to do on Saturday. That was super fun, and my girlfriend Carla is just the fucking best, man. She's so awesome. I'm blessed when it comes to that. 50 is the new 40, I guess, I definitely feel a little bit older, but I'm in better shape than most. I think that helps me. Most people say I don't look 50, and I feel it some days, but I know I definitely don't look that age, which is a bonus. But as for me and what I'm up to, I'm really looking forward to Star Wars Squadrons coming out. I think the second is like next week, and that's when the Star Wars Squadrons comes out and has VR support. So that's something I'm really looking forward to right now. I'm also looking forward to downloading this new open beta update and checking out the new models of the P-47. I want to see what the 30 and 40 are like in DCS. That's on my list of things to do. Other than that, in other non-DCS related news, today is the day that the RTX 3090s come out, which are $1,500 and above, and I've already noticed it's about 6 a.m. my time. Those are already sold out everywhere. So good luck getting your hands on one of those, but at that price, I really don't want one. I would still like to get my hands on a 3080 eventually, but I'm in no rush right now because I want to improve my VR performance, but I don't know if I'm better off getting one of those or just waiting for a Reverb 2 and giving that a shot first with what I have. It's definitely a tough decision, and I don't feel like shelling out almost $2,000 to upgrade things when my rig itself was upgraded not that long ago. I'm running a 9900K, I have a 2080 Super, 32 gigs of memory. I mean, it's a very capable system. But now it's not considered so high-end since the new 30 series cards are out and the new Intel processors are out. Although I will say this, from what I've seen, the 1090, whatever they're calling it now, the new 9900K processors really aren't that much faster than what I already have, so I'm not feeling so bad about that. But that's about it for me, so I'm going to leave it at that, guys. As always, thanks so much for watching. Feel free to hit that like button. Definitely interact with me there in the comments section. I'm always looking for comments and suggestions, and I love interacting with you guys and talking with you guys there. And until next time, guys.